After getting the freshwater running in the previous video, the next logical step is of course the galley. And that needs a massive makeover. My name is Gijs and this is my dad. And this is Schoener Tijgerhaai. 2.5 years ago we started a major rebuild to get her ready for new adventures. And we're sharing the process with you. Subscribe to stay tuned. We've already removed the fridge and the cooking plates before for the installation of the saloon floor. Now that the bulkhead behind it is exposed, we can give that some attention before starting on the galley. There was one porthole remaining with a rusty straight frame that needs to be replaced for a conical one with a stainless steel edge. The rusty edge caused the rubber not to seal properly anymore, so the steel behind the insulation material got quite rusty. We're paneling the galley bulkhead with thin plywood, with the back covered with Armaflex nitrile rubber insulation. Mainly for soundproofing, but also to separate it from the cold steel. Alleen een beetje dun. We used to only have one sink, which would drain straight overboard. But now that we have made a pantry in the wheelhouse with a sink that will drain through the same through hull, the plumbing has to be redone. While cleaning up the attic of the old shed that we've recently moved out of, we found another sink. And it would be handy to have an extra sink in the galley. So, while the plumbing is out anyways, let's see if we can fit that in as well. An actual double sink would be very nice, with just one faucet. But in the spirit of trying to reuse whatever we have, this is the next best thing. It does take away a lot of countertop space. So we'll probably remake the old countertop into a removable one, so that we can choose between an extra sink or more countertop space. With all the steelwork finished, we can reinstall the insulation, add some, and also reinstall the freshly painted paneling. Of course, there used to be a hot and cold potable water connection in the galley, so that can be reinstalled. We won't be installing a completely new galley. It's just getting a massive upgrade, while reusing as much as possible from the previously installed stuff. The goal is to turn it into a semi-professional setup so we can comfortably cook for groups of up to 12 people. We won't be getting restaurant grade stuff, but we're going for the larger end of home equipment, which is pretty substantial. The old galley faucet was a two-handle one, with two supply lines spaced apart. To upgrade that somewhat, I found one that had the same distance between the supply lines, but with a single handle that's a bit more user-friendly. We decided to get one more for the extra sink and install it the exact same way as the other one. Not very conventional, but looking pretty consistent. For our heavy galley appliances, the oven and the cooker top, I'm installing 3 separate fuses on the bulkhead paneling. These 3 are directly connected to a 3-phase breaker on the main switchboard. But it would be a bit annoying that if either the oven or the cooker top has a problem, we'd also lose the other one. Now we can connect both galley sinks to the drain and install the drain for the pantry sink. Everything needs to be sloped towards the overboard. And since we only have 90-degree elbows, the drain straight down from the pantry looks a bit crooked. But it will be hidden behind the fridge so no one will notice, especially with a bit of paint. We got a new combi steam oven, because they are very versatile in baking, cooking and steaming. The new cooker top is a heavy 4-ring induction cooker. We're not installing a gimbaled electric stove, as those take up more space than a rigid one, so we'd have to sacrifice in size. To keep the pans from sliding off the stove, it does get stainless steel pot restraints. We might have to use slightly bigger pans that don't overflow when we're rolling, but that's a small sacrifice. For the new fridge, we went out and got the biggest fridge-freezer combination that would fit underneath the ceiling from a second-hand appliance trader. Never heard of the brand, but I think it's a good one. The old extractor hood was getting a bit rusty, so we threw it out and I searched for a new one, stainless steel this time. We don't need one with an internal fan because we have a fan in the exhaust channel. but empty ones are not too common, so the choice is limited. I did find a relatively cheap, nice looking extractor hood, but with internal fans. So I will just rip those out and use the shell. We can probably use the fans somewhere else, in the engine room for example. The exhaust hole does not line up with our pipe, so it needs a bit more modification than just removing the fans. With the installation of the new wheelhouse, we had exhaust channels embedded in the pillars, including one for the extractor hood. Our initial plan was to just close off the old hole since the air scoop got nicked anyways. We've been using the pipe as a step up to the roof of the wheelhouse. But the extractor hood has 3 speed settings and our 24 volts fan only has one. So we decided to also get a 230 volts one that would fit in the old pipe. With 2 fans we can use the buttons to choose between 24 volts, 230 volts or both. During the installation process I already bumped my head into the pointy corner of the thing 25 times, so I straight away got a little corner bumper guard for it. Now we just need to find some new air scoops that fit. Also one for the toilet on port side. They're hard to find, but the online marketplace is the place for just those things. The 2 that I found almost fit. Almost. The one for starboard is just a bit too small, and the one for port side is quite a lot too big. They're actually the same size, but the pipes on deck are just a bit different. Anyways, that's easily fixed with a leftover piece of stainless steel pipe that we fortunately did not throw away while cleaning out the old shed. This pipe also does not have the right size, but we can cut it open and weld in an extra piece to make it fit. That piece inserts into the thin-walled air scope, after which it fits beautifully on the pipe. The one on starboard was a bit more of a challenge, but it also fits nicely now. If we ever have to clean out the extractor pipe, the old one is easy, as you can just look down into it from deck. For the new one, that leads through the wheelhouse pillar, we made a little removable box hidden above the ceiling, for easy cleaning and inspection access. Going for the semi-professional galley, we're trying to use as much stainless steel as possible, for easy cleaning and just because I think it looks nice. I cut up all the thin sheet stainless steel that we had laying around and installed it as effectively as I could. Apart from the new fridge, we also got us a nice big dishwasher and an under-the-counter freezer to fit underneath the new planned peninsula. I'm trying to reuse all the old interior paneling. Of course, with the extra added peninsula, we won't have enough old paneling, so we got some new plywood. With wood stain and varnish, we gotta try to match the old wood. The countertop will be made of some leftover trespa, which was kindly donated by a friend. The new freezer needs to be able to lose its heat, so I'm cutting 2 holes in the back of the peninsula for cold air in and warm air out. And some used but still good grating to cover the holes. On the front we can reuse an old cabinet door for the fridge and remake another one on the dishwasher. The dishwasher is a semi-integrated one, which means it does not necessarily need to be covered by a panel. It also means that there's not really any mounting facilities for one. So I'm just gonna glue it to the flat front. We might still want to remove it in the future, so I'm using a Sikaflex sealant, which is not the strongest adhesive, so it won't be too hard to remove. With the added peninsula, 2 of the old cabinets are partly blocked. And since we can't really afford to lose any storage space, I've created some small hinged doors. Now everything just needs to be covered with trim work and anti-rolling edges. Almost all of the original hardwood slats can be reused, but we also have to make some new. I did install a ton of extra sockets for extra countertop appliances. And that's a fully functioning galley. The new trim work still has to be varnished and it has to be filled up with pots, pans, cutlery and all that stuff. But this is all for now. If you have any questions or remarks, please let us know in the comments. Thank you for watching and I'll see you next time.